Steve and I are getting ready to do the rear wheel bearing on a 2017 Subaru Forester, and it's a salty Forester because it's winter time here in New England.
Yeah.
There's salt all over the thing, right?
Yeah, and ice and frozen, and so we're gonna take the caliper bracket with the caliper off, and it's a 14 millimeter.
There is like road salt all over this thing.
Crazy, huh?
This is New England, guys. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
You see you guys out in Arizona are missing?
Yeah. You're not missing anything
I know it.
except all this salt.
It just sticks to everything.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's chunks of ice frozen behind the front tires.
This is an iceberg.
Yeah, it's been really cold.
It's the size of Steve's head.
It's been really cold here. Really, really cold here. So put these two bolts out. We'll slide the whole caliper with the bracket off, and I'm just going to lean on the caliper a little bit and give it a little bit of a twist, and it just closed. It expanded the brake pad so it's loose now, and I can sit this whole caliper, just tuck it right up here on the control arm. And we're going to get our rotor off here, and we may have to back the adjustment off on it, but it looks fairly new, so we were able to just slip this off. So we're doing an inspection. You know, you don't use the emergency brake too often, so it's a little rusty in here, but the rotor and the pads have been just changed on this thing recently, and it's new. And this is what we're going after, the spindle hub bearing right here. And it's got a bolt-on pattern, and the bolts come from the back. So we're going to put some penetrating oil here in the front and get these a little wet in here where my fingers are, and we'll get the nut off. And we have to put a little pick in here to open the nut up, and we'll get the nut off, and then we're going to unbolt it from the back side, and it's just 4 bolts. All right, so we got our tool, and we're just opening this up a little bit here. We got our 32 millimeter socket. Let's see if we can move the axle.
Yep.
That's nice. Okay. So we're going to get some penetrating oil and get on the bolt heads right in here. We got the little bolt head here and here. We'll get a little oil on there.
Spray a little bit of penetrating oil on these bolt heads, like Steve was saying.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a 14 millimeter on here. One. Alright, let's see if we can knock this bearing loose. That's the speed sensor they're talking about. You gotta be really careful with that.
The speed sensor right there.
Right here, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So now we have to tap this thing down through the backing plate here. Alright, so, you know, we took the shoes off so we could get a good swing on this thing, to hit it, to crack it loose. No one's really showing that, so we couldn't leave the shoes on to do it, so we just laid the shoes off of it. And then the bearing is so deep into here and into the backing plate that it's frozen on there, so we have to hold the backing plate with one guy and then hit the back of it to release it. So we're gonna sit this up in place, and we're just gonna put a couple of our bolts back in, and we're gonna just hang our shoes on it. Easier now to hang the shoes without the bearing in there. So we're just gonna stick a couple of bolts from the back side through. Down on the bottom. We're just going to hang the backing plate back on it. And Just so we can hang our shoes back on it. And then we'll put the bearing back into it. We want to go and we're going to go and hang our shoes back on here and get our clips back in place. Get the glasses. I'm going to roll this up. This goes like this and like this. So we'll get these all in place right now and we'll get this secured. And that clip coming through here, that on there. Okay, let's try and push this thing down. Okay, all right, so we got one side on. Get that in there, we got that in there, that's still on there. Self-adjuster back in, and so we got that back in place, and we've got the clip over here. And this is a kind of a tough hole to get this in. All right, get that in there. This into there. Right.
I get the clip right in my hand.
What?
It's in my hand, the clip.
Oh.
It's tough to be the cameraman.
Yeah.
I got a spring in my hand too and a flashlight and all kinds of shit.
God, you're here, Tony.
Like a goddamn octopus. There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Okay, so we get that one locked in.
There you go.
Okay. Alright, so squish these up a little bit. Okay. Alright. So we've got this back in place now. We're going to clean the inside over here. So we're going to get some novices on the inside of here, and then, you know, the backing plate will press back down flush onto this thing like this. Slide this in.
There you go.
I get all of these caught by hand before you run anything down and make sure that everything is good. So I'm grabbing. Okay, so we got a little novices on this, and Tony's going to look up the torque spec. We're just going to run this down so it just barely touches, and we're going to look up the torque spec on it, and then we'll torque that at the final at the end. Okay, so we got that down there. We're going to torque that. Now when we torque this, you look at, here's our old mark right here. It's going to basically move just a whisker, and then we'll be putting it back in the same spot. That should get you close to the torque, the original torque mark. We're going to get the brake rotor on. That cleans them right up. It's got a little 80 grit. Getting all Tony's paw prints out.
It's no near the shoes.
There you go. Okay, I'm comfortable. I got just a little bit of drag on it. Now we've got our caliper over here, and we're gonna slide our caliper back on. Now we didn't separate anything, so we've got enough room to get in between our brake shoes here. Slide that up. We got our 2 bolts over here. These are 14 millimeters. You know, the job went really well. It's just separating the bearing from the back and plate and the hub, you know, and to smack this thing around, you know, we decided to take the brake shoes off so that we wouldn't damage anything. We were hitting it before and I couldn't really get a good swing on it, and I felt I was gonna break something. So we got our emergency brake shoes all back together with the springs and the hardware, and you guys get to see how that all works. And in New England, nothing comes apart easy, you know? It's crazy. Look at the salt underneath this thing. All right, so these 2 are tight. So at this point, we're gonna just lower the car down. We're gonna get the torque spec for the bearing. We'll give you that for the spindle hub nut.
All right, so we're getting ready to torque the axle nut. We went on to the internet and tried to find the correct torque settings for this vehicle, so we gotta apologize. We couldn't really find anything that was accurate. We looked at Rock Auto, looked at the SKF site, but that only went up to 2011, it looked like. Somebody on the internet said 177, we saw 140, somebody else said 89 pounds. So we've got ours set at 140.
So we have it set at actually 150.
150?
One guy was like 189 Newton meters, which is like 150 when you look at your chart. So we're gonna torque it to the 150. Okay, now let's look at our nut down in here. Now you see our thing right here? This is where we started. So we're in the right range, we're at 150. So that's where our crimp was right there, and that's our slot. So now we have to pull the wheel because you can't get in here and recess this down. So we're gonna put it up, pull the wheel, and knock it off. So we went with the 189 Newton meters, and that's what we went with for a torque. We're gonna put our lock back in place now. Just gonna hit it with the punch. Okay, get that locked on, throw the wheel on, and that'll take care of it.